Hey everyone, walk with me. I actually think that there's a link between the UnitedHealthcare CEO and the sentiment that is being expressed online as it pertains to him and the election or re-election of Trump and the, I guess what could have been one or two Democratic primary wins for Bernie Sanders that were ultimately, by the powers that be, decided that they couldn't take place. It is clearly this just continuous reaching the boiling point and then boiling over of people who feel that the system is extremely stacked against them, that they are just incessantly taken advantage of, and that they're being hit from all corners. And I think I don't think I need to drone on too much about how that is apparent in the United States healthcare or health insurance. We need to stop calling it healthcare. That is not healthcare. Health insurance is a totally different thing from healthcare. And to see them get up on their high horse and, talk about that they're needed in order to help make sure that people get sort of the necessary care and not the unnecessary care is absolutely insanity. But in any case, the health insurance, not healthcare, health insurance situation in the US, that's apparent for anyone who lives here. But the backlash that's happening and people saying essentially, I guess they're saying a lot of things, but one of the things that's being said is essentially, you all kill a lot of people every year by your negligence, by your refusal to uphold your contractual obligations, by your lack of any sense of common decency and humanity and expression of dignity to just another human being. Right? The sentiment is in part that. It's not only that, but it's in part that. So the anger and the frustration of feeling like people are absolutely screwed from that, right? That there's no way around paying hundreds or thousands of dollars every single month to a company that's banking billions of dollars a year. And this is just one of the companies. And then because they're for profit, their main person of interest, if you will, their main person to take care of is the shareholder and the board and the investor class. So of course people are just furious about that, and they should be, regardless of whether it's coming out in a good way and being very much pointed at a single individual and a tragic event for a single individual. I think that can be true, and there should be a lot of anger about it, and there should be a continued discussion well beyond whatever happens with this, and it should maintain its pitch, I think, because if it doesn't, it's just going to be swept under the rug and relatively ignored like it has been for the last many, many decades. This isn't a new thing. This is many decades of this not getting any traction. Trump, same situation. Seen as outside of the system, seen as somebody who will help blow up the system where it needs to be blown up and help people. I feel silly saying this because, but I will just say I think that the way that people view it is that it will help people who are just getting, again, incessantly screwed by other parts of the system. Will help get them out from under the boot on the neck that is pick your poison, right? There's a lot of them. That's the problem. That's what leads to something like this. There are a ton of these things. It's not just healthcare. You could probably pretty easily, I'm not going to do it in this video, you could probably pretty easily rattle off 6 to 12 more ways in which most of the American public feel just incredibly screwed and incessantly taken advantage of by another systemic part of society, economy, bureaucracy, whatever. So I think that they are the same sentiment. It's just one is very fixated on a singular point, healthcare. But I think it runs the gamut. And I think that that's why the re-election happened. It seems, I mean, I don't know that there would be a ton of debate about that, but I'm sure someone would find a point to debate there. And Bernie Sanders, you know, he ties a little bit more specifically into healthcare because he's talked about the need for Medicare for all for a long time, probably far longer than I ever knew about him, so maybe decades and decades. I happen to think he's right, but setting that aside, he is also seen as an outsider who would come in and would not be beholden to all of the intricacies of the bureaucracy and feel that they have to appease this, that, and the other department just because it exists or because that's what tradition states, right? But he would come in and he'd be like, I don't care. Hate me. I don't care. This is the right thing to do. We're going to try to do this. And so I think he is the Trump of the left. I have said this since 2015. It seems very obvious to me that he's the Trump of the left. And so I think that they carry the same sort of sentiment that runs through, that is boiling through the U.S. citizenry right now, would find ways to agree with both of those people, although they have very different views on many, many things. But the core sentiment, I think, is relatively the same, or at least the Venn diagram has a strong nexus point there. You know, at first I was also going to throw Obama into this, but that feels like because he ran 2 terms and I think people have a different view at this point, but certainly the feeling in 2007 and 2008 was that he was very counter system, whatever that's called. But then, you know, people have their own view. They have 8 years of stuff to have a view on with him. So, you know, I didn't want to throw him predominantly in the mix here, but I think so my point there is this has been happening, you know, overtly for like 15 or 20 years. So it's probably been happening sort of just beneath the surface for a long, long time. So what it's going to lead to, I don't know, but it does feel unsustainable that there can be so many things that people feel so attacked over in their own society, in their own communities and country, and they are desperately seeking ways to change that. So where that leads, I don't know, but it certainly seems to be here. I guess the question is it here to stay, or what's going to happen? All right, folks, 8+ minutes on this walk if you walked with me. If not, I certainly appreciate you watching all this way anyway. And as always, I will see you in the next video.